Thank you very much, and a very good afternoon to all of you here in the room. It's always good to be here with you and to meet our media partners in South Sudan. Today is my last day here, and before this I went to Port Sudan, then I went to Juba. I visited Abyei for 2 days and met authorities and communities there. Additionally, I also briefly stopped over in Awel in the state of Northern Bahr-el-Ghazal. This afternoon, in early afternoon, I met with His Excellency President Salva Kiir, and earlier in the week I had a chance to meet with the First Vice President Riek Machar and a number of cabinet ministers. I also met with the Vice President Benjamin Toktok in the early part of the afternoon as well. So let me open this discussion by saying that the key purpose of my visit was to convey an important message, actually the fundamental message, which is the continued support and continued commitment of the entire UN family to South Sudan, especially as it enters the 4th extension of its transitional period amidst a variety of challenges. So the commitment is fully there, both by UNMISS as well as by the UN agencies. As all of you know, the latest extension commenced on the 22nd of February, just a few days ago, and we felt it's critical to emphasize the message of that UN commitment when the country is doing its best to fully implement the Revitalised Peace Agreement and hold its first elections that are due to be happening by November 2026. At the same time, we're all aware that there are serious challenges faced by the South Sudanese people and their leaders. There is a dire economic and humanitarian situation, and we're also aware of rising insecurity at the subnational level. And we've seen occurrence of violence in various parts of the state, of the country, which are obviously of concern. There is also the impact of the Sudanese conflict on South Sudan, both in terms of the number of IDPs, the number of refugees, returnees, the impact on the economy, the potential impact on security in South Sudan. So obviously the conflict in South Sudan is adding to the already existing domestic challenges of South Sudan. We have to take that into account. The situation in South Sudan is part of simultaneous crises across the world. And these multiple crises, as you know, unfortunately have led to considerable pressure on the international community when it comes to humanitarian assistance, particularly on funding. So, simply put, there are too many people in need and too few resources available. Our main contributors have constrained on their public finances, and we are on the one hand committed to continuing the advocacy in support of South Sudan, but definitely will require the partnership of all, including the authorities of South Sudan, so that we can have an effective advocacy in terms of the resources that are needed to support South Sudan. But, you know, against its backdrop, again, I wanted to come and assure our interlocutors of the UNs and first and foremost our Secretary General Antonio Guterres, again, a strong commitment to continue supporting South Sudan, making sure that attention will not be diverted out of the South Sudanese situation. So now let me cover some of the discussion I've had in the past days. We have spoken at length about current security and humanitarian concerns, intercommunal conflict, and the road to election as part of the implementation of the peace agreement, and vitally our ongoing efforts as the UN to assist the government of South Sudan in holding credible, fair and peaceful elections in December 2026. I took the opportunity to highlight some of the main messages and the main position that you've already heard from the Special Representative of the Secretary General in South Sudan and Head of UNMISS, Nicola Haysom, who's next to me. And particularly our hope that the parties to the Revitalised Agreement will break political deadlocks through consensus and move forward swiftly to ensure the latest extension leads to elections under the best possible circumstances. Completing a peaceful democratic transition is a common goal between South Sudan and the international community. Certainly it's a goal that we share. But it is the South Sudanese themselves, and first and foremost their authorities, who must do the heavy lifting. As the UN, we're here to assist them in every way we can on their journey to a permanent peace. We also spoke about the crisis in Sudan and IBA-related matters, such as ongoing intercommunal tension between the North Dinka and Twitch Dinka communities, as well as the fallout conflict in Sudan on the IBA box. On these issues, we agreed that building trust and confidence among both communities, as well as making sure that there is active dialogue between all the key stakeholders is absolutely paramount. We reiterated our ongoing efforts in this regard, while noting that the issue of the final status of IBA remains open, and of course we hope that there will be progress in that direction. But in the meantime, again, I reiterate that a regular and an effective dialogue between the parties, it's important to make sure that IBA will be preserved from the current challenges that are resulting from the situation in the box, but also in the vicinity, both in Sudan as well as in the neighboring states of South Sudan. So, dear partner from the media, I will leave it at this stage, and thank you very much for your attention.